Ricky.
Yes.
Did you know that support for the Social Suplex podcast network is brought to you by Manscaped?
I did, but do our fans know?
Well, if they don't, then they should know that these guys at manscaped.com are the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. And they offer precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. I know that the fans some might be hearing this for the first time, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, given that we were given samples of it, we were given a box courtesy of Manscaped, and I know you've used it, and I've now used it, and it was pretty damn good. No nicks, no nothing. Everything is perfect down there. Considering
you're a man who is very particular when it comes to his grooming, you'll be glad to know that Manscaped obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. I'm sure that's a mission statement close to your heart.
It is. I like to take care of myself, and Manscaped are giving me a tool in order to do that.
A tool for your tool?
A tool to take care of my tool, yes.
And what our listeners will be over the moon to hear is, if you were to get one of these at manscaped.com and put in the code SUPLEX at checkout, you'll get 20% off and free shipping of such a tool.
At the end of the day, 20% off, and the fact that the product is so damn good, and it's a no-brainer, really. It is. You don't want to be using normal razors, etc. This is designed for this purpose.
That is.
And one of the good things about it is that you can actually use it in the shower.
You can use it in the shower, you can use it in the dark, the Lawnmower 3.0. It's got a quiet stroke technology at over 7,000 revs per minute. It's like, see if you were doing some sort of top 10 or the best ever pay-per-view or something like that, this would be the main event.
Right, so forget all these design features we're telling you about. See, at the end of the day, does it do the job or you want it to do? It does it extremely fucking well, and there's no issues, there's nothing to be worried about, it might cut, etc. It's flawless. So, you can talk about the revs, you can talk about how you can do it in the shower, etc., but the bottom line is you get an awesome result out of it, and that's what you're wanting.
So, with manscaped.com, trim that junk of yours, because your balls will thank you.
As will your partner.
Or partners.
Exactly. Hopefully multiple partners, right. But,
Right, on to the show.
What's up, y'all? It's Jeff Cobb, and you're listening to Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show on Social Suplex Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. Listener discretion is advised at all times.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. I am Ricky, and of course I am joined by my friend and co-host Clive. Good evening, Clive, how are we?
I'm alright, sir. As you would expect from us trying to do an early episode with no hitches, both my laptop and Skype decided to update, which was shite, basically.
Something, a weekly occurrence almost, that one of us are doing some sort of update.
Mm-hmm. But I'm here now, ready and raring to go. Looking forward to what could be an interesting wee effort tonight.
I'm looking forward to this ever since we decided how we're going to do it, and looking at a lot of the responses we've got, it's going to be quite fun looking at a lot of these cards and figuring out how the hell there's going to be a winner.
Aye, we're going to lose some friends along the way.
I think so, but we'll try and be as unbiased and partial and fair as we possibly can.
So,
like I said, already looking at some of the pay-per-views, I've already saw a few that I really, really like, and a lot of them kind of pull at my heartstrings, just the type of matches there. But I'm really looking forward to actually looking properly at each one.
Before we go through the listeners' selections from all the matches that have ever been on pay-per-view in WWE history, in which the winner will eventually be given the competition prize of a ProWrestlingTees.net t-shirt, there is a small matter of a poll to address, and I'm calling bullshit already, purely for one reason.
I think I know what you're going to say, but go on.
The poll was to see, out of me, Ricky and Barry, who had the best pay-per-view. And I intended for the poll to last 6 or 7 days. I accidentally didn't update the fact that it was stuck at 1 day, so it only lasted 24 hours. And after that 24 hours, 18% went to Barry's greatest pay-per-view ever. My Retribution pay-per-view came in at 24%, and Ricky's won Perfect 8, 59%. Now, I am confident that after about 6 or 7 days that those results would have evened out to more of an even keel. I'm sure Ricky couldn't care less.
You think?
Oh, of course I think.
Do you know the only disappointing thing is you would have loved to have seen who voted for who?
I know, I don't think we've got that.
I know. Yeah, I know a few people. Obviously, Mags himself said he voted for Barry because he was a guest. Mm-hmm. There's a friend that we haven't lost a friend in Mags. He's lost a friend in us after that vote.
He might have just said that though, just to piss you off.
Probably. But no, it was quite fun. I told you quite early on, from as soon as I'd done my pay-per-view, I was quite confident in it. But to be honest, I felt all 3 pay-per-views were pretty good. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember who said it. I don't know if it was Imp or Sam that said or someone said it. That basically, or it was Dan actually. Dan Coffin says it. Well, he would pay money for any of those pay-per-views, and I would agree with that.
Yep. So the rules were, you were to give us a pay-per-view with 8 matches, WWE title match, your secondary world title match, women's title, tags, IC, US, Star Attraction and Blood Feud. You cannot pick a wrestler more than once, so choose wisely, and matches can only be from pay-per-views, because somewhere down the line we may do a TV matches pay-per-view, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to go down the Twitter thread that we've got. We've got quite a lot of entries here, and you were reading some of them and you're thinking, wowzers, that's quite special. Some of the names are quite inventive as well. So there isn't any order to which they come in apart from how they appear on Twitter. So I'm going to give us, first of all, the leader of Social Suplex himself, Jeremy Donovan's. You ready for this?
Oh yes.
With a nice name of Gateway to Glory, right?
I love that name.
So I'll just run through the matches and you can pick what ones stand out to you, alright?
Mm-hmm.
Tag title match opens the show with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler at Hell in a Cell 2018. Chris Jericho versus Rey Mysterio for the IC title match at The Bash 09. Cesaro versus Sheamus in a US title match, Night of Champions 2014. Your secondary world title match is Edge versus Undertaker at SummerSlam 08. That will be the Hell in a Cell match. Women's title is Sasha versus Becky versus Charlotte at WrestleMania 32. Blood feud match is Bret Hart versus Stone Cold. Belter. A Star Attraction match, another belter, Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 21. And to end the show, WWE title match, Daniel Bryan versus John Cena. That gets pretty strong towards the end, I have to say.
You know, right, just in general, just a quick general point. After seeing your and Barry's, or especially your Star Attraction match, and looking at everyone else's Star Attraction match, I had a completely different interpretation of it. And I won't lie, I would have gone Shawn Michaels, Undertaker at WrestleMania, and I would have changed my Blood feud match. I would have done if I'd never interpreted the way I did. But I said on Twitter that the last 3 matches of Jeremy's card are just pure straight up bangers. I'm gonna retract that statement, because that's not true. Because it starts off with a banger and it just goes from there.
Right.
Just 8 awesome matches. And I know we're going to pick a final well, do we want to tell people how we're going to decide a winner, or what? Or should we leave that to the end?
Leave that to the end. It will.
Right.
It's going to be an unpopular choice anyway, so we'll just wait and leave them.
Yes.
Leave them liking us for a while.
Like, if you the standout match on Jeremy's for me personally is look at the Daniel Bryan John Cena one. That's where Thingy cashed in. What's his name? Randy Orton. The build to that match was just full on yes movement. I remember when John Cena picked him on Raw, and it was just, oh my goodness, the camera in the ring, everything seemed to be shaking when Daniel Bryan was in his face chanting yes. Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels. I say we're not going to touch on every card for too long, obviously, just because there's so many. But standout match for me is that blood feud match, Bret Hart versus Stone Cold, and I'll give my explanations later on. But that match alone, like, dearie me, one of the all-time greatest. And I'm going to say something later on about that match. I don't know if people will agree with it or not, or if it's a hot take or not. But I just think, now looking at it properly, it's just great match after great match after great match.
It's a clinic, that Stone Cold Bret Hart, and I'm a massive fan of Angle and Shawn Michaels as well. So those two alone sort of rank that highly for me. I've not got much memory of the tag match, the US title match. The rest of them I do, but those two especially, they're bangers. It's safe to say.
You know, that women's match, we got that several times, didn't we?
We did, and
a couple of people have picked that match.
I just remember it being quite botchy. If I'm being honest, there was a few ill-attempted bank statements and a couple of not Bexploder, the disarm hers. So it was just a wee bit thing me.
That's the thing though, like, I've explained how I feel about when things don't look as smooth. Mm-hmm. I like that at times.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between something that's just a proper full-on botch and you just messed up completely, as opposed to something that looks a little scrappy and looks untidy. I quite like the untidiness at times.
But see, for the occasion, the sort of first chapter ending of the women's revolution as well, you can't really go wrong with that pick.
That's a good pay-per-view.
So
the name, just, you know.
Gateway to Glory. It's not bad at all.
Yep.
So that's from Jeremy.
It's got like such a New Japan ring to it as well.
Aye.
The only thing that's missing from it should say John Juris Promotions.
John Juris Promotions. Aye. So that was Jeremy Donovan at Jeremy L. Donovan. Moving on next to at DEJ Kirkby, Mags, good friend Mags. His picks are...
Can we say that name?
Oh, fuck it. The name of Mags' pay-per-view is In Your Mouth, Dave Meltzer's Cumface from the Tokyo Dome. We've got a dark match here, sneaking in Bret Hart versus Owen Hart at WrestleMania 10.
I need to put myself on mute.
Right, I'll go through the cards. Right, dark match, Bret Hart versus Owen, WrestleMania 10. Tag title, TLC 2, the Hardys, Dudley's, Edge and Christian. I've got a feeling we're going to be hearing that one a lot. World secondary title match, Undertaker versus Kurt Angle versus The Rock for the Undisputed Championship. That might be a wee bit of a technicality, but I'll take it. That was at Vengeance 2002. I remember that one very well. Star Attraction match, Big Show versus Akibono. Women's title match, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair at Last Woman Standing. US title match, Sheamus versus Cesaro, Night of Champions 2014 again.
Already that's two.
IC title match, Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat at Mania 3. Title match, John Cena versus CM Punk, Money in the Bank. And the blood feud, nice one, Vince McMahon versus Stone Cold in a steel cage match at Valentine's Day Massacre. So what are your thoughts on In Your Mouth?
I want it in my mouth. Mate, same. The IC title match was the one I was going to go for. But obviously I went with Bret Hart. No surprise, Mags doesn't have Bret Hart. Oh well, it does, even though it's in a dark match. I'm assuming he's probably done that on purpose because that's where he feels it's most appropriate to put a Bret Hart match on a dark match.
Oh, aye, of course.
Just completely off the pay-per-view.
Aye, not even on DVD later on.
The TLC match, like, I think the three of us, me, you and Barry, intentionally stayed away from that. I think I only stayed away from that purely because I was like, I want to be different. But, like, let's be honest about it, one of the absolute all-time great feuds, great matches, like, you know, so it was going to appear on somebody's card, and it's just a great pick.
The only reason that I didn't pick it, I mean, I had every intention of doing so, but it was just because of I wanted Undertaker versus Edge.
Yep.
That was the only reason. Otherwise, it would have been slap bang right there, or the Hell in a Cell match.
I think for me, I just wanted to go something slightly different. Star Attraction match, I remember that. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair last week. I've actually got, so many have I got? Same as Max. I've got 3. No, 2, and the third one was one that I was considered. See, that's another strong card as well.
Mm-hmm.
Show in Akebono, like for what a Star Attraction kind of supposed to be. Like I get that pick. I completely get that pick. Sheamus and Cesaro. I'm surprised you don't remember that.
Do you know, this is something I'll need to watch because that's 2 picks off the bat for that Night of Champions match. I remember their Best of 7 series very well, but not this. So I'm going to have I'm going to have a re-swatch at that match. And for anyone who's vague on it, Undertaker, Kurt Angle and The Rock, Vengeance 02, cracking match, absolutely cracking match, well worth your watch. So that's a good shout. Shall we move on to the next pick?
Yeah, it was a good pay-per-view. That's some really good matches there.
This is Muzza Murray. His is Murray at Murraybone44. He presents 2 Mad Dogs and a bottle of Bucky. I can get behind that.
No one's going to have a clue or not know what the hell that means.
Let's leave it to the imagination of the listeners then.
Yep.
So we have, I actually remember this match, tag titles. Hardy Boys versus Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, a ladder match at One Night Stand 2007. I've got a very good memory of that one. Blood feud, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, Battleground 2016. US title, The Miz versus Daniel Bryan, Night of Champions 2010. Not long after my US title match. Women's is Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks. That's another triple threat, Mania 32 chant there. Star Attraction, Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar, Hell in a Cell 2015. So their second Hell in a Cell match. Secondary title, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit, WrestleMania 20. IC title, another one, that's a couple that are appearing here. Jericho versus Rey Mysterio, title versus Mask, The Bash 09. And yet another pick for John Cena versus CM Punk, Money in the Bank 2011.
So that's, let me get that right, that's two of the first 3 have went with Punk and Cena. And Murray's card's pretty fucking good as well, actually.
And the triple threat women's match.
Yes, it's another one for that.
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in 2016 was an absolute joy to behold. Every encounter they had. I
feel like someone else has put that down in their card as well.
I actually preferred it to their NXT stuff because that seemed as if it was just over and done with, whereas in WWE they had a good few months.
They set the Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit match as well.
Yes, that's
in Mania where Benoit and Guerrero both won it.
See, that's significant in a way as well because Triple H had just been on a tear through the vast majority of the bigger WCW signings that WWE had made, and then it ended with Benoit himself like making Triple H tap out after a reign of terror.
Jeez, this is a really good card.
For Benoit to go on his own reign of terror.
God. Why?
Sorry.
Yeah, I could see 6 like really good matches on that card.
The visuals of the Hell in a Cell match with the ring getting ripped apart as well. It was very much in the twilight of Taker's career, and it was a banger of a match. So that's a good one for Star Attraction.
Yeah, it was actually.
It's a tasty number.
This is going to be difficult, you know that.
That's why I said we should do it the other way, but never mind. Next up. Listen, guys, if you are wanting to join in the fun in this, let us know what your picks were. I'm giving you all the ats and the handles for these people, so feel free to join in with them. This is Mizfan at Spectral Gent. He thought real hard about this one, so I'm not sure what the order is exactly, so I'm just going to go with what they've given us in the list here. So Mizfan has Umaga versus John Cena last man standing match at the Royal Rumble 07. The world title was Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus, 2 out of 3 falls at Extreme Rules 2012 for the World Heavyweight Championship. Women's Asuka, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch TLC match at TLC 2018. Screamer of a match, that one. Your TLC 2 again, that's popped up again. Cactus Jack versus Randy Orton for the Intercontinental Championship at Backlash 04. The US,
who had that? Was it you or Barry had that?
Barry. For the US title. Now this is one I've not got much memory of, so this will be definitely worth watching. Tajiri, Chris Benoit, Rhino and Eddie Guerrero at SummerSlam 03. Attraction, Rey Mysterio and Kurt Angle, SummerSlam 02. Very good pick. And tell me you don't just love this last one. Blood Feud, ECW One Night Stand 2005. Masato Tanaka versus Mike Awesome.
That's the definition of a blood match / blood feud.
I mean, that match was fucking years of intense battles with each other, but I remember thinking when I was watching that match live, what the hell is this? Utter chaos, and I've watched it many times since. It's one of those, I think I might have watched that match more than you've watched Bray Wyatt promos recently.
No, I've watched the Bray Wyatt promo twice tonight before I came on the podcast. That's a good card as well. I remember that US title match.
Do you?
Yes, in the Star Attraction match, like, you know, greatest opener of all time.
I would say so. I think it's definitely
alongside Brett and Owen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so again, like, I'm really kicking myself now about my Star Attraction match, even though I like my Star Attraction match.
Your Star Attraction match was a good fun watch.
That's, yeah, and like I said, I had my reasons for it. Cena and Manga, like, they had quite a few matches. I remember this one. It was pretty decent as well. There's Asuka, Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. TNT.
That was a stunning encounter.
The tag match, again, there's not much needs to be said about that tag match. Like, everyone, it was fucking great. Everybody loved that. We spoke about Cactus Jack and Randy Orton on the podcast last week. Barry's pick.
Mm-hmm. Umaga was the kind of guy that there was a big monster that they booked well for quite some time. Yeah, and I know he didn't win the big one, but he was well thought of.
Umanga.
Aye, Umanga.
This is another real good card as well. Again, I can see like 6 like outstanding matches.
Yep.
Oh, 7.
I've not seen the 2 out of 3 falls match between Bryan and Sheamus.
Oh, really?
No, I'll have to rectify that one. So I'm going to be watching this US title match, Bryan and Sheamus versus Cesaro. They'll be going on the playlist. Next,
the Daniel Bryan and Sheamus was at Extreme Rules. That was just after that diabolical match at WrestleMania, like the one that lasted like 10 seconds or whatever it was.
Yes.
So that was just after it, and I suppose, and probably that's what you should have done at WrestleMania. But yeah, the one where I think, was it he kissed AJ Lee?
Mm-hmm.
It was AJ, I'm sure it was. The bell rang, bang, bro kick, done, and that's it. You know, Yeah.
Right, next up we have hashtag All Elite Professor. His is at Prof of Wrestling. So
you've missed one, unless I'm looking at it different. But anyway, continue with that one.
I'll make sure I get through them all. This pay-per-view is called Legendary. The first one is WWE Hart versus Michaels, WrestleMania 12. You know that. In fact, this person's picked quite a couple of years. Undertaker Batista for the world title at WrestleMania 23. Women's match is the Evolution Last Woman Standing match. The TLC 2 match at WrestleMania 17. Another pick for IC title, Orton and Foley. US title, Ricky, Benoit versus Guerrero.
Yes.
Vengeance 03. Star Attraction. Surprisingly, this is the first time I've seen this or mentioned. It's The Rock versus Cena, WrestleMania 28.
First one.
Maybe not the first, not the last. And the last one is Savage versus Warrior, WrestleMania 7. Blood feud. Not seen that one myself.
That Rock Cena was the first match.
Yes. Aye, because
the once in a lifetime, and then it happened 12 months later.
Aye, this was the first of their 2 once in a lifetime matches. I have no memory of Savage and Warrior, but
oh really?
Sorry, the feud. I've not seen the match though. But the card is. Look up and down that card.
No, I know.
This is where it gets hard because you start seeing the same matches. It has to be one or two that put to the post, and Rock versus Cena for a Star Attraction. It's a big deal, Ricky.
Oh, it is. The Warrior Savage one was a thingy match, retirement. So I remember that. I think Savage was. So what did it call? I think they ended up having like an on-air wedding with Elizabeth. Was that SummerSlam? I think
the wedding part itself.
Yes, the wedding was at SummerSlam. Anyway, or did they post it at SummerSlam? I can't remember. One of the two. But yeah, looking at the card, like
that is
Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart.
That's your pick.
That wasn't my pick.
Sorry, Barry's pick.
Barry's. Taker Batista.
That was one of those ones, the start of a fantastic rivalry in the mid 2000s for Taker.
I actually remember when the three of the guys, I can't remember who the other one was. It might have been Cena, Batista, and someone else. I can't remember. And Taker had to pick, and he kind of picked. Looked up to Batista, gave him the slit throat sign, and Batista raised his title in the air. And I was like, oh, cool. Charlotte, Becky, I had that. There's another TLC match, wrestle tag match. Orton and Foley spoke about. I don't need to say anything about Eddie Guerrero because that was my pick. Cena Rock that's the definition of a Star Attraction match right there. Like two of the four on Mount Rushmore, in my mind. And then you get the blood match with Savage and Warrior.
That is legendary.
That is such a good card.
You sound as if you're in pain.
It's because, honestly, I didn't think it was going to be this difficult. Once I'd looked at it, I thought, do you know what? Certain cards are going to stand out above others. It kind of isn't, to be honest.
We'll see how things go. The next one is Jim Hayes, the man with a plan, at Big Jimbo Extreme. Cena versus CM Punk, Money in the Bank. The Rock versus Steve Austin, WrestleMania 17. Charlotte versus Sasha versus Becky, another triple threat there. This person, Jumbo, has went for the triangle ladder match between the three tag teams at WrestleMania 2000. Steamboat Savage, WrestleMania 3 for the IC.
Yep.
Ziggler versus Ryder at TLC 2011. Goldberg versus Lesnar Survivor Series 2016. That would probably be the star attraction match. And Kennedy versus Undertaker at Survivor Series 2006. I've not got much memory of that one.
I always liked Kennedy.
So did I.
I always loved it how the microphone dropped when it was in the ring. It was just different. Right. The first, 5, you just don't need to talk. Cena Punk, same as me. Rock Austin, well, it's a Rock fucking Austin. Charlotte, Sasha, Becky, there is another one for that. Triple threat tag match.
Should clarify, it's the Rock and Austin at WrestleMania 17.
Steamboat Savage. It's like I say, it's probably the greatest Intercontinental match of all time. I probably should have gone with it, but I didn't. Those first 5-6 matches are fucking tremendous.
What was Ziggler Ryder for? What is that, US?
Yep.
Right.
2011.
There is a slight issue with this in that Cena and Punk and Rock and Austin was for the same lineage title. But, and I'm not sure what was Kennedy and Undertaker the world title?
Yeah, I suppose it's...
They could have been picking the Rock and Austin for a blood feud, because I would take that as a blood feud. But in terms of...
or that could be the star attraction. The blood feud could have been Brock and Goldberg. Difficult to tell.
It's still a good card though. There's just not... A couple of them you're not sure which is which, but are still top notch from top to bottom. I want to watch some Ken Kennedy promos. Somebody in my old work used to do that up in the stockroom in Argos. They would just shout Kennedy at the top of his voice.
Excellent.
Right, next up, one of my favourites. This is from @Jan the Sequel. Jan, shout out to Kath as well.
I need to find this one.
I've skipped one, but we'll go back to that in a minute. Now this one, I do enjoy this one. Right, Punk versus Daniel Bryan, Money in the Bank. WrestleMania 22 for the world title match. Angle versus Orton versus Mysterio. Asuka versus Becky Lynch at Royal Rumble 2019 for the women's title. The TLC at SummerSlam 2000 for the tag titles. IC title, Bret Hart, Bulldog, SummerSlam 92. For the US title, we've got Cena versus Kevin Owens, Battleground 2015. Undertaker versus AJ Styles, WrestleMania 36. So that's this boneyard. And for your blood feud, you've got Rollins versus Ambrose, Hell in a Cell 2014. Now, the only thing that goes against that Hell in a Cell match is Bray Wyatt's Sister Abigail's ghost at the end. But see that stretch of 4 or 5 months, Rollins and Ambrose.
Oh, Lord.
That they destroyed each other. And it was deserving of a Hell in a Cell match. Sorry, on you go.
A couple of things. One disappointing thing about the pay-per-view, not the pay-per-view, sorry, but Cena versus Kevin Owens. See that the 3 matches they had. The first match, in my opinion, was the best of the 3. And it's just a shame that wasn't for the US title or something. Yeah,
it was. It's probably our favourite because Kevin Owens won.
Yes, if that was that's nailed on in there, but I said, all 3 of those matches were just unbelievable. Asuka Becky Lynch. That's just looking. I think that's the only one that's the only time it's been picked. Quite surprised at that. I'm quite surprised at that purely because I thought it's kind of underappreciated and maybe doesn't get talked about as much as some other matches. I really like that pick.
It was really good. Like it. The only issues I have with it is I preferred the 2020 match.
Right.
And also on the night, I preferred Sasha Banks versus Ronda Rousey. That was one of those Technical matches, which was really good.
And I think also, what maybe goes against that match is because Becky then entered the Royal Rumble, and that's probably what everyone just ultimately remembers. Is Becky coming back in and winning the Rumble kind of thing. But that's That's a really good card.
Definitely.
Punk Daniel Bryan. Oh,
That Angle Orton Mysterio was an absolute screamer. That was another wrestling clinic. And
so was Bret Hart and Bulldog.
The SummerSlam 2000 TLC as well. Oh, good stuff all round there. Really good stuff.
That's a really good card.
Now, Sir Sam at Sir_Samuel, he treated us to a YouTube video, so I retweeted that. I'm going to retweet it again just now so you can see it for a laugh. He basically gave us Samomania in his Mean Gene Okerlund style by giving us the card through video, so check out Sir Sam's YouTube page. He's also given it in written form, and he's kind of tweaked the rules a wee bit for himself, but he was aware he was playing cheeky, as you know yourself as well, Ricky. So for the pre-show, we've got Neville versus Austin Aries at WrestleMania 33 for the Cruiserweight title. Main card.
That's a proper Sir Sam pick right there.
I know.
And tugging at your heartstrings.
Of course.
They both loved the 205 stuff, and he was desperate to get that on the card. That's a nice little touch.
And he's picked another pre-show one here. This is from the tag title match, the Usos versus the New Day at SummerSlam 2018.
What? Sorry to cut you off again. The problem is though, like, a lot of their matches were on the pre-shows, and like they were the best matches on the fucking card.
I know.
And they were pre-show stuff, and it's like that was just no. All the stuff with Usos and New Day was just tremendous.
I would maybe throw this into the ring that it was better than their Hell in a Cell match, but see, in terms of how far the blood feud had grown by that point, you could pip the Hell in a Cell match, but that SummerSlam one was a belter. US title, where he's went back to the WCW days, so technically it's on the network, so not sure. Magnum TA versus Tully Blanchard.
Sam's bending all the rules here.
Sam doesn't care. Magnum TA versus Tully Blanchard in an I Quit Steel cage match. I do remember that one actually. Blood feud, I remember it because it was in the Doc Chad Matthews book. The Blood feud, The Shield versus the Wyatt family from Elimination Chamber 2014. I know you'll enjoy that match, Ricky.
Yep.
Attraction was Warrior versus Savage. Another pick for Warrior and Savage. Another pick for the IC title match between Orton and Mick Foley. Sam. Edge versus Undertaker 24, WrestleMania 24. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. Hell in a Cell 2018.
Okay, went with Hell in a Cell.
I don't think their match was a Hell in a Cell. Was it?
No, I mean, like the pay-per-view I'm talking about.
Aye, the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view where Becky Lynch won it. And Daniel Bryan versus John Cena, SummerSlam 2013. So we've got picks here where they've been picked by a few people, they've been picked by us. One or two that you forget about but are actually crackers. The Usos versus the New Day at SummerSlam 2018 and Neville versus Austin Aries. See, because they had quite a long story together, the Becky Lynch Charlotte Flair match at Hell in a Cell, it's kinda, I need to watch it again to remember, but I'm pretty sure that was the one that Becky won. Or is that Night of Champions? I can't remember right now. Anything that stands out for you with this one? What about the Shield versus the Wyatt family?
Of course that stands out. And by the way, who was the one that took the pin? It was Roman. Just saying, just putting it out there. Warrior Savage, second time that's been picked. Is it second?
Yep.
Again, Randy Orton, Mick Foley, there's another time. Edge Taker again. Daniel Bryan Cena again. It's a fucking great card. See what I love? The Sam's, he first brought out the promo video for his quiz against the young boy, and now he's done it again here. I love those videos. I think I texted you, didn't I? Saying, I can't wait to watch this video. It was like 10 minutes long or so. It was, I really like it. It's a really, really good card as well.
It is.
Honestly, I don't see a weak spot on this card.
Even the cheeky match, technically not WWF.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's still a good match. And I just mean like from an actual match perspective, like the match quality.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'd really in storyline, etc. This is where I don't really see much. I don't see any weakness, if I'm honest. That's some real good matches.
Fucking hell,
I really like that card, actually.
I'm scrolling through and there's so many here. Right, let's get cracking. Next up, we've got Dan Coffin at Coffin_Dan. His pay-per-view is called Final Nail in the Coffin. Right. Now here's another pick.
I blocked Dan because he voted for you.
I know, I saw that.
And then I immediately unblocked him and followed him again, and I sent him a message on Messenger saying, by the way, you'll need to follow us again because I blocked you.
Right. This is another pick for SummerSlam 03's Guerrero Rhino Tajiri Benoit for the US title. IC title match, Rick Rude versus Ultimate Warrior for WrestleMania 5. Star Attraction, Neville and Stephen Amell versus Stardust and King Barrett, and I will get back to that one. Women's title match, Charlotte versus Becky versus Sasha, 32. TLC 2 for the tag titles, The Rock and Chris Jericho at No Mercy 01. Lovely.
Look at that blood feud.
King of the Ring 2001.
Oh,
Kurt Angle versus
someone else
Shane.
has got that. Someone else has got that on a card. Oh my goodness.
And WWF title. A bold prick.
Apologise right now.
A bold pick. Apologies. I said prick because the winner of this match, the 1992 Royal Rumble match.
Do you know what? That's actually quite clever.
It is very clever.
Because it is, like, when I was looking at the card, I was like, it never clicked at first, and I was like, hold on a second, the Royal Rumble match? And I realised it's the one where Flair won. Mm-hmm. That's because I love Royal Rumble matches.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that pick. The Blood Feud match, gee, dear me.
Aye, that's horrendous stuff.
Honestly, see those final 5 matches you rattled off, they're all so good.
And see I was a big Stardust mark in 2015. I thought he was excellent.
Oh, he was.
And
shit gimmick, but he actually made it work.
He did. Wonder what he's doing with himself now.
He's a prick now, that's it. I don't mind him.
See, Stephen Amell, see around 2014, 2015, the wife and I were big watchers of Arrow. So seeing him come into the ring, it's like I told the wife, you want to watch this with us, and we watched it in Neville and Amell versus Stardust and King Barrett. I thoroughly enjoyed that match, I really did. So that tugs at my own nostalgia heartstrings, seeing Stephen Amell on there. I think he actually took a brutal bump at All In, I think. Mm-hmm. The Rock versus...
Is Arrow a film, or is it... What was it?
It's a TV show.
Oh, so it's not like Marvel or DC or anything?
It is, it's
sounds
DC.
Like it should be.
It's DC.
Is it? Fuck Marvel and fuck DC. Your boy Ricky doesn't like it.
That's probably the first time you've differentiated between the two. You're novice.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you who's who. I think Marvel is Aquaman.
Right, moving on. The Rock versus Chris Jericho, No Mercy 2001. I watched this recently. The Rock and Chris Jericho had quite the chemistry together, and that was a belter of a match. Mm-hmm. Like you need to watch their stuff back. That's an amazing pick for the world title.
Yep. So is that a Rick Rude Warrior match? That's a really good pick as well.
I will be honest.
Aquaman isn't Marvel, it's DC then?
Uh-huh.
Right, okay. I don't watch Marvel or DC. I appreciate Aquaman's looks though.
Okay. Shout
out to Chris Hemsworth as well. It's another good looking DC Marvel guy as well. whatever Thor is. Anyway.
Right. You can tell.
I think this is the first thing I've ever said on the podcast that I don't like Marvel and DC.
Well, we certainly won't be getting a sponsor from Disney Plus at any point soon. This is now It's Ray Cash at It's Ray Cash, aka Rance Morris, has given us his pay-per-view The Last Stand. First match is WrestleMania 31, the ladder match with R-Truth, Luke Harper, Stardust, Dolph Ziggler, Dean Ambrose, Daniel Bryan and Bad News Barrett. Quite a mouthful there. SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. Backlash 2017, the Usos versus Breezango. Blood feud, King of the Ring, Shane McMahon and Kurt Angle. WWE Championship match, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 31. US Championship match, John Cena and Kevin Owens at Battleground again. SmackDown Women's Championship, another pick for TLC, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair and Asuka. Oh, star attraction, Floyd Mayweather in the Big Show. And triple threat match, Triple H, Shawn Michaels and Benoit at WrestleMania 20 for the world title. Now, what are your thoughts on this star attraction match?
I can understand the reasoning for it. It fits the bill. Remember, Floyd broke Big Show's nose. I can't remember if that was at a Raw or was that a pay-per-view. Remember, he was like basically trying to murder Rey Mysterio. Floyd gets in and then Big Show kind of gets down on his knee to kind of like, you know, imitate the "I'll come down to your size." Floyd unleashed like a 6-7 punch combo and a couple of them landed flush on his nose and broke it. And I remember Shane had to come out and you could see Shane was dead, was really, really sheepish, and he was like, just calm down. Like it was a mistake kind of thing. You could tell him try to really calm Show down. A lot of sports entertainment during the match. You know, Floyd finished off with knuckle dusters and kind of he takes a kind of bump when he gets launched out. The Big Show picks him up and throws him out on top of people as well. It fits the bill. What he's going for, the blood feud.
That's his favourite match.
That's just horrific. Like, and the nicest, and I mean that in a good way.
I like the pick of the Usos versus Breezango. That was the one where Tyler Breeze was dressed up as a janitor, an old lady, and then they just exploded and had this amazing 5-10 minutes. It's a good pick. And it's
an underrated pick.
The IC title match, the 6 or 7 or 8 way for the IC title, very good that one. Daniel Bryan won that one after some,
and then retired. Like,
I know, fucking
a couple of months later or something.
Headbutting Ziggler at the top of the ladder. Dean Ambrose took a brutal powerbomb off Luke Harper out of the ring through a ladder which broke.
Yes.
And we've spoken about the other matches apart from, I will say this about the Star Attraction match, the only boxers I care about are the ones that hug my balls. But that was some good shit. I loved that. And the interesting Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Now, we were in the midst of Suplex City. People weren't behind Roman Reigns. The match was going one way, and then they knocked Lesnar into the post, and things were turning round. It was like, oh, this is actually getting really exciting. They're going to change hands, and then Seth Rollins' music hit, and I remember getting goosebumps, thinking, oh shit. And it was a classic moment that will live forever. Seth Rollins cashing in the Mania main event. So a strong pick there. And I do enjoy the Star Attraction match. That Mayweather Big Show was a big deal.
So remember at the start of the show, well, off air, we were just kind of talking about how we're going to go through the matches, etc. And I said I've noticed a few, and I says I'm going to make an assessment on Ramsey's because this was one of the first ones I looked at, and I says it'll be interesting to see if you agree with my assessment of the card and why Ramsey's went with this card.
Okay.
Right. So, I see ladder match, right? I get them thinking behind that. The blood feud, big time moment because you saw the state of Shane and how he went through the glass, which turns out to be real glass. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns were a good match, and then Seth Rollins cashed in. That was the moment we all remember. Floyd Mayweather's Big Show. Floyd Mayweather. It's the moment that obviously Floyd Mayweather was in the WWE ring. Chris Benoit winning the title. The moment you had with Eddie Guerrero. I've said a word there several times while I'm describing each match. how many times have we heard Rance talk about moments, and that's a WrestleMania type moment, or that's a big moment, that's that's we're creating moments or historic type historic moments and historic landmarks in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of his picks are historic moments.
You're
and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that we hear Rance talk about that quite a lot.
You're probably spot on there, because they all have big moments in them.
Yep.
Right, next up we have...
There's 7 more to go.
Yep, we have... Oh, fuck's sake, Caleb, your names. Not at Real Will Kelly's dad, whatever the hell that means, and his is at I am Caleb B. Right. The final wash, US title match. US title match, Roman Reigns versus Rusev. Women's Ronda Rousey versus Sasha Banks. 2019 Royal Rumble. No Mercy 2016 for The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. I was wondering when that would pop up. The Hardy Boys versus the Dudley. There's the TLC 2. Another pick for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens Battleground. Blood Feud. World title match is Benoit versus Triple H and Michaels. What's happened to his card? Right, sorry, it's just because he's sort of double screenshotted. Next up, WWE title, Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston, and star attraction is The Rock versus John Cena at WrestleMania 28. So any there that we've not touched on before, Ricky?
Right, first things first, right? The name, legendary. Caleb tweeted this and then hit me up saying, tell me what you think of the card, but specifically, what do you think of the name? The Final Wash, that's the best pay-per-view name we've got. Because what people don't realise, there was a TNA/Impact podcast that lasted like 1 episode, and it was Caleb that done it for the network, and it was called The Wrestling Wash.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a play on that. And I also replied when Caleb sent me a WhatsApp asking me, and I was like, I think that's my favourite pay-per-view submitted so far. Anyway, we've not spoke about. We spoke about the main. We spoke about Triple Threat. We spoke about Sami and Kevin Owens. We spoke about the Triple Threat with Benoit, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. We spoke about Rock, Cena.
I'll be honest, I've never seen that No Mercy match, The Miz and Dolph Ziggler. I was less than interested with that rivalry going on, with Dolph Ziggler's career on the line, so I've not seen that, admittedly. But from all accounts, it was a very good match.
It was. Ronda Rousey, Sasha Banks, there's that one right there as well. I think.
Happy to see that one get some love.
You spoke about that. Yeah, you spoke about that one for your pay-per-view as well.
Mm-hmm.
Roman Reigns and Rusev. Nice to see a Roman Reigns singles match in there as well, because he had so many.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston.
I'm glad to see that on, because that was a special one, and it wasn't even just a special moment. That was a damn good wrestling match. Oh,
the match, if you want, because you can't, right? But say you forget everything about the build, etc., and what it meant. The match alone was such a good match, but you then throw everything on top of what was happening in the storyline that was currently goes on in America, what happens in America all the time, and just what it meant. And even people like Byron Saxton saying on commentary, like people like us need to work twice as hard to get as half as far, or something along those lines.
Aye, that's about it. Yeah.
And then everything built up to it, like the image of him sitting the New Day sitting at the Elimination Chamber after doing so well. The tag team gauntlet match was tremendous, and I loved the moment with the Usos and the New Day, and they were like, we've been to one back, like we respect you, we want Kofi to win this, we're done, we forfeit. And the other one was the Kofi Kingston gauntlet match, and the one thing I remember about that so much was he'd been through so many people in the final one, like the final boss was Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan came walking down with this look on his face, just a smirk, like I'm gonna put a beating on you, you're done, kind of thing. And
And
everything about that storyline was perfect.
See, as well as the racial undertones, Daniel Bryan personally put on the performance of his career in terms of character work.
Yep. I think
that was ridiculous how good he was for those 4 to 5 months. So to finally beat him clean like that, to defeat the boss, the big evil, over those 4 months, that was special, as well as the other more important stuff.
To quote Rance, it was a WrestleMania moment. It wasn't just a WrestleMania; it was such a significant wrestling moment. And I think the racial undertones to the entire build, like, that really added to it. And whether it was ever intentional, I don't know. But like,
I think that was the best.
Sorry, you go.
Sorry, I think that was the best protagonist overcoming the odds story that WWE have done in years. Maybe even the best one. Because I know you had the Austin stuff, but this had meanings out with wrestling.
Yep. I think the only other one I can think of more recently that comes close to it is Daniel Bryan Yes movement itself. But like you say, there was more to this than just wrestling.
Yep.
But final thoughts on the final wash. Outstanding card.
Now this is one that I did keep an eye on. This is All Elite. Right, this is another one where I need to. They've got a very long name. All Elite Tiffany's Wardlow, in parenthesis, yep, she's my MJF, at Floyd Johnson Jr., who does the All Things Elite podcast with us on the Social Suplex podcast network. We have Blood Feud, Stone Cold, Bret Hart, Star Attraction match, Rock versus Hogan, Mania 18, Asuka Charlotte, WrestleMania 34. Now that was
yes, that was going to be my pick until I changed it.
Rey Mysterio and Edge versus Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit for the tag titles, No Mercy 02.
Barry's pick.
Yep. And we've got Macho Man and Steamboat again for the IC. We've got Cena and Owens again for the US title. I'm going to leave the world title match to last, but their last pick on the card is Reigns versus Lesnar 31 with the Rollins cash in. And one that I wanted to spend a wee bit of time on was the secondary world title match, HBK, Triple H, Booker T, RVD, Kane and Jericho in the first ever Elimination Chamber Survivor Series match at 2002.
Yep.
You were talking about matches that so many matches have been picked that it's hard to differentiate between a lot of the cards. But see this chamber match,
stands out.
It does. This was back when it was the old chains. It was the first time we'd ever seen it. There was this sense of, what the hell am I watching here? Standout performances, Booker T, Jericho and that, RVD with the frog splash that knocked in Triple H's windpipe. And it was a comeback story for HBK. He won the title that night. That is a special world title match right there. And
moment.
They've put in, that's 6 big names that you could have flashed out through the rest of the card. It is a moment.
That's a ridiculous fucking card.
I know. And Asuka versus Charlotte as well.
We spoke of you, because I said I hadn't saw every card, but you mentioned this off air.
Mm-hmm.
How good of a card this was, and it's jeez. Like you said, there's a few in there that several people have picked. Bret Hart, Austin's been picked, Asuka Charlotte's been picked, obviously Barry picked that tag match, Macho Man and Steamboat's been picked, Owens and Cena's been picked, Roman Reigns and Lesnar's been picked.
The only
Rock Hogan is the one that really stands out, because that is proper. Again, I know we had a Rock Cena one in there as well, but this is also the other person who's on Mount Rushmore. Cena and Rock and Austin is Hogan.
I know what we all think about Hogan. He's scum of the earth. But
he's a piece of shit.
I mean, that match was a moment in time.
Like,
it wasn't even. See, if in a wrestling, like, if you're Meltzer, you'd give that a low rating if you're watching that on mute, because it was probably just pumping guns but the actual moment of that match was a big deal.
Like the start of the match, right? This was like Rock, like just like proper all time like peak, like loved. And at the start of the match, like I think a lot of people kind of said it was 50-50 in terms of who the chance, but I think it was more so Hogan, like getting more of the cheers than Rock was at this point. And bear in mind, this was NWO Hogan as well.
Yeah.
That's a great pick. That's a great pick.
So
it's a great card, actually. It's just a great card.
We'll move on to a close personal friend of yours.
Yeah, and I think the good thing about this is all of these cards, but about this one specifically, I'm going to go back and watch that Elimination Chamber match.
Oh, that's a cracker of a match.
Yep.
So your friend Outsider Kervin, Carl Irvin, with In Your House, big meaty men slapping meat. Blood feud match, HBK versus Undertaker from Bad Blood 97. That's the Hell in a Cell match.
Yes.
The Miz versus Daniel Bryan for the US title match, Night of Champions 2010. Tag title match, TLC 2017. Mania 17. Another Charlotte versus Asuka for the women's title. Another SummerSlam 92, Bret Hart Bulldog. Brock Lesnar versus Bill Goldberg for Universal Championship at Mania 33. Star Attraction, Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor, Mania 11. And WWE title match, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant, WrestleMania 3. Now, we know Carl is very obvious when it comes to what he likes in his wrestling, and he's another one who looks for big moments, big meaty men. So I can understand the likes of the picks of Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, because that was a massive moment as well. You've got Lesnar versus Bill Goldberg. We've trashed
chaos, just absolute chaos.
We've trashed a pair of them regularly in this podcast, but that 5-minute match was a belter.
Oh, it was excellent.
Undertaker HBK Hell in a Cell, a screamer of a match.
And obviously with Kane's debut as well.
Again, it's another one that, like the Chamber, it was the first of its kind and it sticks in your mind, but it also sticks in your mind because of the Kane debut, just the unknown of it all. Really good.
Yep.
And Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor, not much memory of it myself.
I'll just say this, fuck LT. You won't really understand the meaning behind that, but other people will.
Okay.
I understand, because at that time Lawrence Taylor is like, and still is like, he's arguably the greatest ever defensive player, American football player ever. So yeah, I remember that match quite clearly, and I remember he ended it with like he was in the corner and in his football stance, and then kind of takes out Bam Bam. Obviously, love HBK Taker. And again, there's Charlotte Asuka again. There's that triple threat tag match. Bret Hart Bulldog again. Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, like you say, it was. I think that lasted about 7 or 8 minutes, and like about 6.5 minutes of that action was outside the ring. And obviously after the Survivor Series one, kind of left a sour taste in your mouth. You're like, great, we're doing this again. But it was a really, really fun match. Yeah. Really, like, you know what I say, just chaotic. Yeah, the title, the name, pay-per-view name is pretty apt, and then you look at a lot of the matches, especially the last 3 matches, kind of tie in with that. But it's a good pay-per-view.
It is. Next up, we've got Dave Fenichel at FF Fight League. Now, he's went for an interesting option by not using the big 4 pay-per-views, and it's still a pretty strong card. You've got the world title, so this will be the WWF one. HBK versus Mind Games. No, HBK versus Mind. Oh, I can't say it. HBK versus Mankind at Mind Games 96. Orton versus Christian over the limit 2011 for the world title. Another last woman standing match pick. Seth versus Miz at Backlash 2018. This was close to being on my own pick for the Intercontinental title. Another Vengeance 03 for Benoit Eddie, Ricky. Tag team titles, New Day, Usos and Lucha Brothers, Lucha Dragons. Shit, can't remember. TLC 2015. That's the one where...
as Lance calls them, the Lucha Booties.
Lucha Booties.
That's the one where Thingy died. What Uso was it?
Well, that's the thing. The Uso who died can't remember which Uso he is anymore. That's how much of a doing that was. Cena versus Lesnar, Extreme Rules 2012 as the attraction match, and a very, very fine pick for your blood feud. Now think about the amount of people in this as well. 10-man Canadian Stampede tag match, the Canadian Stampede match pay-per-view. That is a fine match to have as a blood feud and to end the night.
Considering not using any of the big four, like, this still stands against just about every other pay-per-view that's been submitted.
And considering the names in that 10-man tag match,
yup,
it was still able to give
10 people.
Still able to give really good world and WWF title matches.
I think my only issue with the Cena Lesnar one, because that was Brock's return, and he lost that match.
Right.
That was my issue with it. But then, I'm sure he lost the match. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. No, Cena won. Aye.
Yep. So last woman standing, good pick. Miz Seth, another good pick.
Aye, really, really good. Miz, see the Miz, he always works well with the Shield guys.
Yep.
All the time.
Definitely. That tag match as well was another good pick.
Yes, that was a hilarious, mental match.
Yep. Orton and Christian had a good rivalry. That was where Christian kept going on about one more match. That's an outstanding pay-per-view, considering there's not a big four there at all.
Exactly, that's brave but justified.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was a brave decision, but it's actually a really, really good card.
Yep. So next up we have, let me see, we've got at King Zach 13. King Zach, one of the Lords of Pain / Wrestling Headlines columnists as well. Wrestling's Still Fun is their name. We've got, for the tag titles, the Hell in a Cell match, Usos in the New Day, Blood Feud, oh wow, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose in the Lumberjack match from SummerSlam 2014. Love that match. US title match, Cena versus Kevin Owens at Money in the Bank 2015. World Heavyweight match, Christian Alberto Del Rio ladder match at Extreme Rules. SmackDown Women's, another last women standing Evolution pick. Another No Mercy 2016 IC title pick for Ziggler and The Miz. We've got another Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston. And star attraction, Shawn Michaels Undertaker career versus Streak. That's a damn good pay-per-view right there. Like, that's top titty.
Yep.
That Lumberjack match was excellent.
That obviously we've not saw. If you the secondary world title, the one with Del Rio and Christian.
Big moment for Christian there.
Yep, it was a good match. Obviously, we've had the final two. Have we had Shawn Michaels Takeoff? The WrestleMania ones? Has anyone picked that? I
don't think we've had the first one.
Did Murray pick?
You might have.
Anyway, it was. No, Murray didn't. But no, that's a good card. That is a good card. Let me go back down to it. I was scrolling up there.
The Lumberjack match was a sensation. That shouldn't have worked the way it did.
I think everything, like you said earlier on, just during that 4-5 months period, everything those two done. And to be fair, everything they've always done together, whether singles or the tag, was always great. So you could have gone with like a number of different options there if you wanted to go with those two. Like I say, everything they've done during that period was just unbelievable. KO and John Cena. Usos New Day, that was my pick. Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch was also one of my picks. There's another Daniel. Oh my god! See when you actually examine this entire card.
I know. I am in agreement with you.
Like, I'm trying to, like, when I'm looking at the cards, I'm looking and saying, right, I'm trying to find reasons or pick faults in them to make it easier. And this is another one I think is, I don't really see a weakness, if I'm honest.
I've already picked one definite that I'll be discussing with you.
I think I've got 3.
Oh, fuck. Right. Next up we have at 5 Nerds Go from the 5 Nerds Go podcast. Zero regrets at the name, which is Balls Deep. That's just the name of the pay-per-view. Or if it's just a status of 5 Nerds Go in general. We have...
They clearly used like that old school font as well. What was that font, remember? Like you says, it's a PC screen from the 70s.
I know.
It's like a typewriter.
Aye, when it's one of those whodunit programmes on the telly.
Yes.
And the name zips up on the screen. So we have your TLC 2 secondary, although I think this was actually the WWE title. Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar, No Way Out 2004. Women's title, Alundra Blaze versus Bull Nakano, SummerSlam 94. Blood Feud, Cactus Jack and Triple H, No Way Out 2000. US title, Cena versus Rollins, SummerSlam 15. There we go. We've got our first. Now he hasn't picked which one. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. We'll just say 25.
Yeah, I would say so.
IC title: The Miz, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Extreme Rules 2016, and Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston pops up again. So I'd need to watch this Alundra Blaze Bull Nakano match because that's quite a bold claim.
Decent.
Considering what we've had in the last 5 years, must be good.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've still got quite a few matches. One match I'd put above it, but it was still a good match. It's still worthwhile watching, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Eddie Guerrero, Brock Lesnar.
I know, it's so good.
Even that Cena Seth Rollins one as well.
And then this cell match between Triple H and Cactus.
Yeah, yep.
Now,
Shawn Michaels Taker, like, no words. I've always said that's
plenty have already been said about that. But
yeah.
The Miz, Cesaro, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn from Extreme Rules 2016.
Yep.
Phenomenal. 1,000 miles an hour. It furthered the story between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It was a spot fest, but it was a damn good spot fest.
But I think, like those kind of matches are always going to be kind of like heavy on the spots. Like, it's just what it is. So you know that going into it and you don't mind it.
And the Miz still walked away with the title, didn't he?
Yep.
That was I need to watch that again, not through lack of memory, just because it was a belter. That's a good.
That's the big takeaway from me looking at all these matches. Like, people are submitting it, you're like, oh my god, I need to go watch that again.
See, I think I don't want to blow smoke up our own arses, but see, with the way the current product is just now, and a lot of people have went off it, and there's just not as much of a drive, certainly not for me, to watch much Raw or SmackDown or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Through doing these podcasts, I'm going through the archives of that network and thoroughly enjoying myself watching these old things. Yep. So if anything, if it's given the listeners like, oh wow, that was great, really enjoyed that, stuff like that, then excellent. I think we've got one more. We've reached the end. Richard Boykin at RBO140. Another one who's tweaked the rules tad, but we'll take it in anyway. We'll take it because they didn't get back to us. But we had the world title, WrestleMania 20 Triple Threat. IC, Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect, Ricky, SummerSlam 91. Blood Feud was...
Richard, I like you.
Blood Feud was the Rock and Foley Royal Rumble 99. Was that the chair shots, the 11 chair shots one?
The thingy match.
I Quit?
Yes.
Oh, that was a horrendous match, that one.
You know, I remember watching that I Quit match, right? I remember at the time, and I was like, that doesn't sound like Mick Foley. Like, I thought it was like a pre-recorded thing that Rock had done.
And that's what happened, wasn't it?
Sorry?
Is that not what happened?
I can't remember now, but I remember looking at it. I was like, no, that he never quit. Like Rock's done that, like, and they've pre-recorded it and they've made it look like he's quit, but he's not actually quit. I can't remember now. I remember that at the time, but yeah, that was, like he says, handcuffed behind the back and just brutalised with that chair.
Aye, that wouldn't fly today at all.
Oh, that was sickening, man. I struggle now, especially to watch stuff here. Like, I take no pleasure in watching that. It's like I cringe too much at that, and I'm like, that's not entertaining for me.
I know. Another 20 years later at Royal Rumble, we had Asuka and Becky again, and another pick for The Miz versus Daniel Bryan at Night of Champions 2010. Now, the tag title match is Revival versus DIY from the NXT TakeOver Toronto. I did clarify with Rob later on that we're looking specifically at main roster stuff. We will be doing a similar best NXT TakeOver in immediate future episodes. They didn't come back to us, but a damn fine match, and we will talk about that when it comes to that time. Secondary title, a European Championship finals between Owen Hart and British Bulldog. Can't remember that at all. And star attraction, Undertaker versus Lesnar, WrestleMania 30. A few interesting picks there that we've not seen before. The Rock and Foley, we have discussed that there. And
sickening.
Undertaker and Lesnar, WrestleMania 30. That's a moment.
Unfortunate how that match went, because obviously we genuinely don't know how the match was going to go, because Taker by himself says he doesn't know when he was concussed, but he doesn't remember shit from that match.
I know.
And you could tell, especially looking at it, it's like, that's just not right looking at all. So it was unfortunate that it happened. But as I say, we've not had that. Obviously not had Rock and Foley picked. Other than that, some good matches. Several times the Miz and Daniel Bryan from Night of Champions been picked as well.
Aye, I'll need to watch that one again. So I think, if I have missed anyone, then I profusely apologise and you'll be entered into something else. But we've reached the end. That has been a very good trip down memory lane, Ricky.
Yep.
And now it comes a time where we discuss how the winner is made.
Can I make a suggestion?
Go for it.
I think we could be sitting here debating too long for a winner.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, how about we pick a final four between us right now?
So 2 each?
We come to an agreement on the four.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about the 2 each. Like, certainly I'll say my four and you can say your four, and we can try and negotiate.
Okay.
And then how about we release a Twitter video on Thursday evening, evening being our time, in telling who our pick is and the winner is.
What if we make
I feel like we could be here a while debating, and this way it gives us like a day or so to actually sit and talk and figure out who we think is the winner.
What if it might still be a bit of time before people have got round to listening to it on their playlists? So what if we do it for Friday?
That's fine. Friday night. I mean, what do you want to be doing a Friday fucking night? Would you rather watch a Ricky and Clive video? Would you rather watch that shithole fucking 2 hours of SmackDown?
We could do a karaoke. We could do it in a karaoke voice.
Oh, we could, because that was such a good segment. That was really entertaining wrestling.
And I could, like, as a non-drinker, I could pour drink down your throat and see how you like it. Yes,
I quite like that. I like that's. We should do that, definitely. That sounds like a wonderful wrestling show.
Right. So we're going to pick four between us, and then the announcement will be made on Friday via a Twitter video. All right.
Yep. So you want to give your? We'll go picks each. Right. So if you want to give your first pick,
my first pick is going to be, and I'm going to find it very quickly. All Elite Professor at Prof of Wrestling. So he had Hart, Michaels, Undertaker, Batista, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, TLC 2, Orton, Foley, Benoit Guerrero, Rock, Cena, and Savage Warrior. So that's who I'm throwing in. We don't need to discuss the whole whys at the moment. We've done that already.
Okay. So if we agree with it, we can just tick them in and we can put them in.
Okay.
I'll come back to that.
Right.
my first pick from the boss, not Sasha Banks, our boss, the boss,
Right.
the man that runs this place, Jeremy. Gateway to Glory. I think I was pretty clear on why I picked this when we were discussing it. There isn't a flaw in this card whatsoever.
Okay. I will also come back to you on that one. My next pick was made quite late, and it was by... Oh, where the hell is it going? Right, it's King Zach, okay? King Zach won Hell in a Cell tag team match, Rollins, Ambrose, Lumberjack, Cena, Owens, Christian, ADR, Last Woman Standing, Ziggler, Miz, Daniel Kofi, and Michael Taker. That's another one I'd like to add to the mix.
Yeah, I'll put that in.
Oh, we've got our first official entrant. So King Zach, at King Zach 13, you're one of the 4 finalists. Your turn.
Caleb's.
Okay.
Let me give Caleb's. Caleb went with Roman Reigns, Rusev, Hell in a Cell 2016, Sasha, Ronda at Royal Rumble, IC being Miz and Dolph Ziggler, tag match being a WrestleMania TLC, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens at Blood Feud, Benoit, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, and Star Attraction being Rock Cena. Similar, my reasoning for the Jeremy one. I really don't see much of a flaw here.
Right. I'll come back to you.
Okay. Right, so what's your next pick?
My next pick is going to be at Floyd Johnson Jr.
I agree. I've actually got that on screen right now. In fact, I'll come back to that, right?
Oh, okay. Right, your turn. Right, so we've got King Zach as a definite, right, okay. And I've had 2 picks, yes. Was that my third?
Right. I love Sam's card, but I can't put Sam's card in.
Okay.
I think...
Is this your third pick?
You know why we can't. This is my third pick.
Right.
I feel it'd be uproar if we allowed Sam's card to get in the Final Four. Even though it's a great card.
Because of the US title.
Yep.
He's won a t-shirt from us before.
This is difficult, by the way.
I told you we should have just done a draw the number from a hat.
The other one I'll put forward, and I think we need to talk about it, is Jan's.
Mm-hmm.
Jan the sequel.
I was going to put...
I'm not wanting to put... I want to talk about it though.
Well, I was going to suggest it anyway, so put it in.
I don't want to put it in the Final Four as yet. I feel like we need to discuss it because I want to see what your next one is before I commit to anything now.
Right. This is my last one.
Yep.
Right. I was going to say Jan the sequel.
Uh-huh.
But if you're already thinking about it, I'm going to leave that out and I'm going to posit Rance's.
Okay.
Because at first I wasn't seeing it as top billing, but with your explanation about the moments.
The moments.
And the moments that derived from each match, then yes, it is like you would remember that years down the line.
I agree. We need to discuss that further, I think. And I also feel like Murray needs to get... We need to look at Murray's card as well. Right, so the one we've definitely got in so far
is King Zach.
Yep. Right, so can we... What's wrong with Jeremy's. Are you not wanting to put that in the final four?
Purely that I've not got memory of the Dean Ambrose, Rollins and McIntyre and Ziggler match.
Right.
But
I'm
or the Night of Champions, but a lot of people picked that one. The pressure's on here. We're going to lose so many friends.
I this has to be on. For me, this has to be in.
Right.
It really does.
Because although there's not a tag title, although I can't remember the tag title match or the US title match, the rest of it is a pretty big deal. So we're putting in.
They were all like, I want to put Jeremy's ass. I need to put Jeremy's in. I think that card's just top to bottom.
Right. So Jeremy
is spectacular.
Okay. As long as you put in Jan the sequels.
Right. That's right. I'll tell you who my four then would be, and you tell me whether you completely disagree.
Right.
By the way, go back and watch that Hell in a Cell match because it's one of the best tag team matches you'll watch. I personally think that's probably better than my tag match that I picked.
Right.
It was that damn good. My four, if I'm honest, I will go. We're going King Zach, Jeremy, Caleb, and for me it comes down to potentially Rance or Jan. I know this probably isn't great hearing or great podcast at the moment, but I really need to just let me see Jan's. Jeez.
It's
my goodness. I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that.
This is horrendous listening right now. Right, King Zach's a cert.
Yep. So is Jeremy.
Right.
And
personally, I would put Jan the sequels in there.
Right. And who would your final one be then?
Rance. For the moments.
I've got difficulty leaving Caleb's out. I really do.
So we're down to 5, not 4.
Yep. We've got 5 right now. Unless we just do that as a final 5, because it's, for me it's difficult because, like I say, we're both agreed on King Zach's. I just can't justify not having Caleb and Jeremy's card on there whatsoever. I just can't.
Right.
And I'm completely torn between the other two because I think maybe one card is stronger than the other ever so slightly, but a lot of Rance's picks are properly like, do you remember that? Remember watching it, you know? And that's difficult to get away from in my mind. You know, yeah, like I would happily go with a 5 and then we can sit and discuss for a couple of days how we're going to go about picking this.
Tell me why you don't want to include Floyd Johnson's in it then. Hogan Rock, Austin Hart, Asuka Charlotte, No Mercy title match, Ricky Steamboat Macho Man, Cena Owens first chamber match, and Reigns Lesnar.
Because we need to draw the line somewhere. And if I'm honest, right, if I'm brutally honest, I'm not the Star Attraction match even on a couple of the cards, like, I get the meaning behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not that big on the matches themselves. And I think I'm in that mindset when it comes to the Rock Hogan. Even Roman and Lesnar was a really, really, really good match, I felt, but I would still look at it and say, interesting pick in a sense. I get the pick and the meaning behind it, but this is what I'm saying now. Are we going to include Floyd and we go with a 6, and then we somehow debate and get it down to a 1? I would do that. I don't have an issue with that, but we're kind of we're making it really difficult for ourselves to pick here, I think.
I know. The Rock Hogan one, I understand. I prefer the other Star Attraction matches, so I'm happy.
Look, if we can go for the 6, and if you've got a winner in mind right now.
No, I don't.
I do.
Right, well, we'll keep that for Friday and we'll discuss it off air. But we're going for 5 or 6.
Go with the 6, because I think Floyd deserves to be in there. To be honest, all of them are bringing it. Murray's is really good as well, but like you said, we cut it off at some point, and if we put Floyd into it, hopefully, we can actually come to an agreement here.
Aye. Right, so we're going with King Zach, Rance, Caleb, Jeremy, Floyd, and Jan.
Yes.
Okay, we're settled, we've done it. To the rest of those that we didn't name, and if you're regular listeners to the show, we are sorry, we really are. But
they're so good, some of those cards.
And see, the thing is, we will be doing this with the NXT takeovers.
Yep.
And we're planning TV. We're even planning some crazy shit like the worst pay-per-view ever. We've got some plans going forward, so there's going to be plenty of chances to join in and not only give us content, but give us great online conversations and win a t-shirt down the line. So we do thank you, we really do, and we're sorry. But to the rest of you, stay tuned to Friday, and you'll hear Ricky's going to do a live video, and we'll get that posted out, and we'll organise with that person towards them.
I think what the video will probably consist of is a rundown of each card, so I hope it won't take long. I'll probably spend a minute on each card, and it'll be like a 6-7 minute video at most, I think, and then kind of saying who our final pick is and why that pick is. Like I say, I already made my pick. I made it. I know who I'm going to go with, and I'm going to fight for that pick, but I just think we're going to struggle to come to an agreement, that.
I know, but we'll do that.
I really think we are.
Right, well, keep your thoughts to yourself on air at the moment, right? Before we start quizzing ourselves and doing some wrestling tests, let's talk about our testes and why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team spent 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created and just released a new and improved Lawnmower 3.0. The third generation trimmer, so you're talking like Randy Orton, The Rock, all those chaps and chapettes. The third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce manscaping accidents. Millions of balls are about to be nick free thanks to Manscaped's advanced skin safe technology. I can attest to that. It was a very smooth experience. I'm feeling a wee bit itchy now and again, mind you, but that's usually the case. In terms of actual sort of nicking accidents and blood and guts and all that shit, manscaping accidents are finally a thing of the past. I can tell you this is a premium service, and I mean premium, because if you've got a lot of bush down there, the battery will last up to 90 minutes, so you can have a longer shave. The water-resistant technology allows you to groom in the shower. Why you'd want to do that when it's all matted and stuff like that, I don't know. I think you need a dry pube, personally speaking. One of the coolest features is the LED light, which illuminates grooming areas for a closer and more precise trimming. Also, I can attest to that. They've also upgraded to a 7,000 revs per minute motor with quiet stroke technology. And let's not forget about that charging stand. Sleek, beautiful. Show your mower off loud and proud, because this intelligently designed stand is a convenient charging dock powered by USB. Although I have to say, America, your plug sockets with your 2 prongs, It's almost as bad as spelling colour without the U. So if you're listening to me speak right now, I want you to experience it firsthand, because I finally did experience it firsthand, and it works a treat. And it also came to my rescue when my normal day was the Lawnmower 3.0 to sort of tidy up my face. I can confirm that I did tidy and clean and sanitise the lawnmower before using on my face. I don't have any sort of puberona virus or anything like that. So make sure, trim that junk of yours and get 20% off plus free shipping if you go to manscaped.com and put in the Suplex as the promo code. Believe me, your balls and your chin, and maybe some other people's chins, will thank you. So, ladies and gents, if you've enjoyed this episode of the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show this week, be sure to check out the rest of the shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network, such as One Nation Radio, Keeping It Strong Style, Grown Men Watch This Shit, Get in the Ring, and All Things Elite. Make sure to give the podcast a 5-star review on the app of your choice, although I believe Apple are quite good with the good old-fashioned algorithms and all that stuff. If you want those podcasts sent directly to your email inbox, then head over to socialsuplex.com and click subscribe. You'll also get the columns that we do there as well. Speaking of columns, you can read my brand extension series over at wrestlingheadlines.com. Usually drops every second Thursday. With regards to other social media stuff, if you go into Facebook, check out the Wrestling Squared Circle Facebook group, drop an invite or request to come into the group and chat along with us with the things all to do with wrestling. And we are at Ricky and Clive on Twitter. If you want to get us a t-shirt, then go over to prowrestlingtees.net. You can get a Ricky and Clive t-shirt and a few other Social Suplex ones. You can also donate directly to the show. Give us some pocket money to keep the hardware and software going for the podcasts. And do not forget to make the most of yours or your loved ones' bollocks for 20% off by going over to manscaped.com and using the Suplex promo code at checkout. There you are. So, check out the show notes on this podcast. The wee show notes at the bottom. All your hyperlinks are there for you and yours.
Yep.
So, just to let you know,
something out on Friday.
Just to let you know, you heard the wee Manscaped bit there. We're not going to do a quiz this week because it's hard work and that's already a long episode. I'm sure you understand that we won't do a quiz. Next week we'll be doing the first of a shorter series. Maybe it's the same amount of time actually. The best ever NXT takeover from all the takeover matches we've had in the 6 years that takeovers have been going. Now, I've enjoyed the main roster chat, but my God, am I looking forward to chatting some takeover shit. Big time.
We've got a couple of guests hopefully coming on for that.
Yep.
I want to speak to you off air about the NXT thing, and I want to give you an idea or something that we can talk about when we get finished here.
Right. So thanks for listening, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to check out Manscaped as well. Give them lots of love, to give your balls lots of love, and we'll speak to you next week.
Yep, take care, folks.
Thank you for listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.